This quick tutorial is all about working with the new powerful generative AI technology called Adobe Firefly that is now natively integrated into Adobe Photoshop. It's magical and non-destructive. Okay, in this project, I want to discuss how to stack and order layers for your best results when creating a total costume makeover. It's really quite amazing how I've added each of these layers by making a selection and then entering a prompt for each of them and then stacking them in this order so that I get my final results you see here. Now, the order in which I do these is very important, especially when it comes to the hair, because it's the last step in this whole process, because I want the hair to blend in and over the jacket in this case. So keep that in mind as you work on your projects. So let's talk about this hair. Turning this layer on and then turning on the selection I used for this hair can really help us understand how to create hair of your own. Notice in this layer that my selection goes up and around my forehead, into the hat, and back down around my shoulder. I even go up over my ear so that I don't distort my ear, and it also defines the hair wraps over my ear. That's pretty amazing. So this is the selection I make for this hair, and I specifically want nice, long, flowing hair. You notice here my prompt is long, white hair. Really simple and straightforward. I can then regenerate more hair by selecting Generate. But let's see a situation where I might want to do this. Let's turn on a new layer I created with a black outfit. This black cowboy jacket does not match the previously generated layer of the hair against the brown jacket. So we'd have to correct this issue. We can do this by targeting an existing layer and then regenerating that layer. Here it says long white hair. I'm targeting my layer. Let's get new generated images based upon my new stacking order within this project. Again, the order in which you create your stacked images is very important, and then always leave that hair to the very end to get results like this. That looks great. Let's look at some of these other variations. I love this one. So there you have it. The ability to do a total costume makeover, as you see here. And then finally, going in and adding hair that blends into the jacket. Don't forget my tips and techniques for making that perfect selection up and over the forehead, around the ear, and typing in long hair. Fantastic. Give this technique a try. Here's some tips and techniques on selections that you need to know. I want to create a spaghetti western out of this image. I'm going to select the lasso, in this case, with the lasso tool, and turn it into spaghetti. To do that, I make a selection and enter in the word spaghetti, but in this case, with the selection, I get whole wheat spaghetti. If I make a completely different type of selection, I can get semolina spaghetti. That's how powerful this selection is for getting the best results. So how did I do this? First of all, I did not make a square selection, like you see here. The results, by making a square selection and entering the word spaghetti here, then selecting Generate, will give you the results that look like this. It'll give you the semolina pasta, but it's not in the shape of the lasso. The correct way to do this is to make a selection, in this case, around the lasso in the shape of the lasso. But check this out. A portion of the lasso is not included in my selection. This will then make this portion of the lasso become an integrated part of the final results. So when I select Generate, it will then create whole wheat spaghetti because it's blending the colors and texture of the lasso into the final results. Pretty cool. If I make a completely different type of selection you see here, and I make sure that all of the rope is inside of the selected region, then it will exclude that and not make it part of the results, and you will get semolina pasta. Wow, that is powerful. You can continue this project and select different portions of your image to create a variety of crazy new combinations. Check this out, give it a try, and remember, the selection is the most important part of working with the new Generative Fill feature. In this project, I want to demonstrate how I created each of those images and how I can get rid of wrinkles and enhance fabric here inside of Photoshop. Let's get going. The first step in this project is to make a selection of your fabric. I've done this ahead of time, as you can see here. The selection goes all the way to the edge, but I am recommending that you go to the Select menu and down to Modify and over to Contract. I'm going to contract by 10 pixels. By doing so, I am protecting the outer edge of the selection, so it will not affect that area. And it will then maintain the shape of my fabric. This is a nice super user tip and technique. Now that I have the selected region where I'd like to repair the wrinkles, I can go up to Generative Fill here in the taskbar. I'm going to enter in burgundy spiral fabric. I like to put in the color that I'm after, the spiral because I want to spiral the fabric, and I'm finishing off with the word fabric because I don't want it to drift to some other material. These three words work extremely well for me in this project. Now that I have that selected, I can select Generate. It's going to generate a series of variations based upon that prompt. Here are the results, right here under Variations. The first one, the second one, and the third variation. I highly recommend that you select Generate multiple times because the variety of different images you will get is enormous, and you can get some really, really amazing results. There you have it, some super user tips and techniques on removing wrinkles and adding special features to fabric that you've photographed. Give this technique a try.
You can use Photoshop's Generative Fill to merge two photos with just a few clicks. In this document, I have two photos with similar lighting. The couple canoeing photo will be much better if we had the top of the tree line and some sky. So I found a photo that has similar lighting and the bright sun on the right side like we see on the reflection in the water. To merge these layers, all you need to do is enable the rectangular marquee tool and make a selection that includes the transparent pixels between these images, as well as part of the sky and trees to give Photoshop room and context to generate the blend. Now click on the Generative Fill button and leave the prompt blank. Then click Generate. Photoshop will generate content that blends these two images in a very realistic way. And you can click on this icon to look at the other variations, which also look fantastic. The Generative Fill can add realistic objects to your photos, but if you later decide to move that object, you'll need to take a few extra steps to make it blend with the background. Let me show you how this works. When you create a selection, you can use the Generative Fill to add content to your photos. Just type a descriptive prompt like old classic red pickup truck. Then hit enter or return to generate, and the result looks great. Lighting, color, and perspective match. But if you decide to move the truck to another part of the image, the background and perspective will no longer match. To make the truck fit the new placement in the photo, go to the Properties panel and again click on the Generate button. Photoshop will generate a new truck that will match the new background. Unfortunately, the result will not be the same truck. If you want to keep the same truck when moving it to a new position, you can try right-clicking on the generative layer and converting it into a smart object. Then clicking on the Remove Background button from the taskbar to add a layer mask to the Generative Fill layer to hide the truck's background. The truck looks fantastic, but it will be better if we bring back some of the grass and shadows hidden by the mask. To do so, enable the brush tool and paint with white on the layer mask to reveal the grass and shadows below the truck. With the Generative Fill, you can generate multiple variations to experiment with multiple ideas to find the best solutions for the issues you're trying to solve. But each variation increases the file size. Let me show you how to keep your file size small by only keeping the variations you could potentially use. In this image, I find the hand holding the phone is distracting, but otherwise